Hello YouTubers, it's me, Crazy Latino Life. My name is Abraham, and I'm making another video because I just learned some things. I watched two videos on YouTube last night, and they talked about Revelation, and one video was about this young guy. He was he was explaining what Revelation was all about, and well, I have to say that my interpretation was, pretty wrong. I guess. It just I thought I knew what I was talking about, but I guess I don't, because this guy will obviously he studied the Bible, and or he studies the Bible, and he just looked into, you know com- with into it like I've never, you know looked into it myself, very, and it's hard to interpret, what Revelation is talking about, but well, this guy really looked into it and found the answers, and uh, what he did was, compare some Bible, some verses in the Bible from Daniel and to Revelation, and well, I thought maybe the scarlet, the woman on the beast would be, maybe was, I thought she was maybe America, because, we do have a statue, and whatever, and this woman does have a cup in her hand, or a torch, and, just, some similar, uh, the statue is similar to, the woman in Revelation, so, I thought maybe that was her, but it turns out that the woman in the Bible in Revelation is actually a church. Because well, he looked into it, and he said that in Bible prophecy, a woman represents the church, and compared some verses and all that. So I was like, whoa, I just really, well, I was just amazed at how he, was able to find out the answers. I was just amazed. And also uh, another thing he did was compare verses of Daniel and Revelation about the beast, and the seven heads and the 10 horns, and one was like a lion, and the other one was like a bear, and so there was similar, they were both similar, Daniel and Revelation, and well, turns out that those are kingdoms. Those were kingdoms that, uh, well, they're not in existence anymore. Kingdoms and power that are not existent anymore. So, and so that prophecy has already, come to pass, and it's over. And also, something else, he found out that Well, you can calculate the number of the beast, and so a lot of people have been, calculating the number and through gematria, and well, I saw the other video I saw was that back in the old days, the Greeks would, uh, each letter, had a number, and they would take each letter and they would uh, come out with a number for each letter, and they would add those numbers, and then they would that was what, a tradition or something, a game that they had back in the old days. So um and it's not in any other language. It's, I guess it's supposed to be just in Greek, not in Latin, or it could be in Latin. I don't know, but it was something that they used to do back then. And the documentary said that uh, the Antichrist, the number of the beast, wasn't meant for uh, somebody in the future. Um, it was it was uh, it said that Paul was targeting somebody that was an emperor in his day, and if you add up the numbers, you'll come out with the name of some emperor back then. So then there's, I hate to say this, but it might be true that the prophecy wasn't meant for now, for these days, it was meant for then, because Rome was in power, and they had, control over Israel, and Paul didn't like them or whatever, and so he made the prophecy that you know the Roman emperor was the beast, and or the Antichrist or whatever, and Rome would fall one day, and but then it would come back into power, um, and it would rule, you know, with the Pope being in charge, and now it's well, that's where it continues with the Pope. The Roman Empire fell, and then the Church rose. The Catholic Church, rose and came into power, and I'm not trying to bash the Catholics or whatever, but that's pretty much the prophecy is all about Rome, and how it was gonna fall, and it did fall, and also the other part was that the Catholic Church would prosecute Christians and kill them, and that's where it says the lady would run into the woods and be fed, or nourished or whatever, for so many days, and so that was another prophecy that uh, was fulfilled, because the Catholic Church did prosecute uh, or persecute a lot of Christians and killed a lot of Christians. And then this is all in history, if you don't believe it, you can look it up yourself, and you'll find out that everything, and it's all, it was pretty accurate. I mean, it's still Paul was still accurate, and he did predict, what was going to happen in the future, and it did happen. It has happened. And then Napoleon, I guess went in there and took, you know, took Rome over, took over Rome and abolished the Catholic Church, and so there, that's the prophecy where it says it received a deadly wound, and then suddenly one of the heads of the beast was wounded, and it received a deadly wound, and then it came back. So after so many, like I think 1,260 years, I think that's what the documentary said, that Rome, the church was not in power, and then after 1,260 years, it came back into power. That's where the Bible says that the beast was, that is not, and yet will be, and that something like that. Well, that's talking about the Roman Empire and the church, and Catholic Church was gonna rise up again and come into power, and now the rest of the prophecy has not yet been fulfilled, because there's supposed to be, I guess, a pope that will uh, be the Antichrist, I guess, and you know, um, I guess he will. The last temple is gonna be built, and or the third temple or whatever, and I guess there, when after the temple's built, I don't know who's gonna help the Israelis build the temple, but what country or what beast power or whatever. Beast means government in the Bible, and that's another thing I learned and found out, that you know from watching that video, uh, that a beast is a government, and it's a power, and so I guess somebody's gonna help the Israelis, and they're gonna be allowed to build a temple, and the false prophet, you know, of the Catholic Church, because he thinks that he is the holiest representative on earth, of God. Well, he's, I guess, supposed to walk into the church and guess, I mean, not the church, but the temple, and uh, proclaim he's God, and whatever, and it's already it happened before, because one of the emperors back in the Roman days proclaimed that he was God, and he made people worship him, and whoever didn't worship him, that's another prophecy that's been fulfilled. Whoever didn't worship him, was put to death or whatever, and he went into the temple and desecrated the temple, or whatever the word is. That happened back then, and I guess I guess it's gonna happen again. I don't know. I don't know for sure. With the false prophet, he's gonna walk in there and do the same thing. But it Revelation is all about Rome. It's not about any other country. Pretty much, it's all about Rome, and Rome is going to continue to rise into power. I mean, be in power, and it's just gonna get more powerful than, and that's where the false prophet's gonna, you know, come out of, is the Catholic Church, I guess. and he's gonna, I mean, the Catholic Church has a lot of followers. There's millions of people that follow, and so when he the Antichrist, or uh, Antichrist means in place of Christ, or opposite, or against Christ, or whatever. Uh, that is the definition or the meaning of Antichrist, Antichristo. So when the Antichrist, or the false prophet, uh, rises up and comes into power and starts performing miracles and signs and wonders, then whoever, all the Catholics that believe in the Pope will follow him, and he'll ask everybody to bow down and worship him. And it also turns out, the video talks about the mark of the beast, and the the kid, the guy the young man was talking about how, uh, as a sign to, of a, in allegiance to God, you have to have, wrap something around your right hand, or put something in on your forehead between your eyes, and that's a sign of allegiance to God Almighty. And supposedly, I mean, well, I think the Israelis or the Jews still do that. Actually, they keep the commandments. They wrap the commandments around their right hand, or put it on their forehead. And you could look it up yourself if you don't believe it. You can, they still do that. The rabbis still do that, or whatever, and so that's, saying that they're the children of God, and they're obedient to His commandments, and whatever. So, and the mark of the beast is not going to be, an electronic device at all. Uh, Everybody that thinks that it is an electronic device could possibly be wrong. It's not going to be an electronic device, or, um, what it could be is, the Bible. I mean, not the Bible, but the Antichrist. When he comes into power, or the false prophet, he's gonna say, okay, all everybody that, uh, worships me will have to, you know, wear something on their right hand or their forehead, not an electronic device, mind you, and it's gonna be a sign of them who worship the false prophet, a sign to him that they're of their allegiance to him. So I don't know what it could be, but he could probably write the Ten Commandments, uh, not not as they are in the Bible, but he could probably write them totally opposite of what the Bible says. He could say, well, you should not, do this and that and this, unless I'm just saying for an example. I'm not saying that that's what he's gonna do exactly, but, uh, you know, people that worship will worship him, you know, and I mean he will ask them to, wear something as a sign to, allegiance to him, I guess, and he'll make an image, of him and whatever, and put it in the temple, and People have to worship it and whatever. But and I guess he's gonna have answers to all the problems and whatever and stuff. And I mean, it's just totally not what I thought or what I had, you know, what I thought the Bible was saying. But now I understand. I learned something, and if you don't believe me, then that's up to you. But uh, yes, I think that my interpretation was pretty much false. And President Barack Obama, you know, might not be the Antichrist. I mean, because the Antichrist, what Revelation is really trying to say is that the Antichrist is going to come out, or the false prophet is going to come out of the Roman Empire, which is now the Catholic, you know, Roman Catholic religion. And because it has such an influence, I mean, it's millions and millions are there's millions of members in the Catholic Church, one of the biggest religions in the world. And we have seen the Pope, try to bring all the religions united under the Catholic Church, because the Catholic Church believes that it's the one and only religion that is the right religion. And I mean, I guess it's going to succeed one day. But uh, nevertheless, I mean, I just want to say that don't let anything, you know, if you're worried about what's gonna happen in the future and all this and that, well, you know, don't worry about it. Just continue to live your life and do what you have to do, and don't let none of this worry you to death. It's not good. Uh, Plus, you know, I mean, the prophecies on Revelation is supposed to be a warning, or from God, and to warn Christians about what's going to happen. But I'm gonna say that don't worry about it. If you're a Christian or not a Christian, don't worry about it. Don't get your head don't worry yourself sick about, oh my gosh, this is gonna happen, this is gonna be terrible and whatever. Don't get all worried sick about it. You know just live your life, and and do what you're supposed to do, and work, and provide for yourself and your family, and go out and have fun and do things, and date, uh when just go out on dates and just live life normally. So life is supposed to be unpredictable. You're not supposed to know what's gonna happen from one day to the next. You don't need to worry about none of that. Don't worry about you know don't worry about it at all. So I used to be like that myself. I used to worry about, oh, I wish I knew what was the future, what's gonna happen to me in the future, what's gonna happen in my life and whatever. But really, it's not a healthy thing to and it and I used to be into you know tarot card reading and all that. I go to, and I mentioned this before, but I used to spend a lot of money on getting my cards read and all this stuff, but and none of it happened. So I just I just they just robbed me. I let them, you know I let them rip me off, and that wasn't a smart thing. But now I don't do none of that no more. I don't believe in any of that, and if anybody out there is doing that, don't do that, because you're gonna get, yourself worried, sick. Oh, this is gonna happen. This is gonna happen, and it doesn't happen, and you're just gonna get, you know, it's not good for you. It's not good for you. And they don't tell you the truth most of the time. Everything they tell you is pretty much a lie, and you're gonna be like, well, boy, I wish I had this, and I wish I had that, and you're not gonna let things, just you need to let things go, let it go, and let things happen as they happen, and that's it. Uh, so it's not good for you to know your future. It's just not good at all. Don't don't even go to these psychics and spend waste your money, because you don't know what's gonna happen. I mean, you're not supposed to know. That's all. You're not supposed to know. You're supposed to just live life as normal as possible and do what you have to do. What you need to do is work and and go out and have fun and play, uh, and stuff like that. Don't worry yourself about the future and whatever. That's my advice. I hope you listen to it and take my advice, because I've been through that, and it's not good. So uh, like the saying goes, que será será. Whatever, you know, and it's true. I mean, like the show, the old show from way back, whatever will be, will be. Well, that's how it's supposed to be. You're not, you know, your life ain't really, really, your life isn't supposed to be pre-planned or predestined. Uh, whatever's, whatever's gonna happen, happens, and don't think about it, don't worry about it, just let it be, let it go, that's it, that's what I had to do myself, so, you know, and as soon as you do that, and you'll start being happy and less, stressed out and worried, and you'll feel a lot better, and if something good happens, you'll be happy and you'll be surprised, and that's the way it's supposed to be. Alright, YouTubers, I hope you learned something from my videos, and if you want, you can rate and subscribe, and so that's what, more or less, what Revelation is talking about. It's talking about the Roman Catholic Church. It's not talking about any other country, and it's not saying, talking about the Antichrist, coming from any other country, or the false prophet, or whatever. The false prophet supposedly is going to come out of the Roman Catholic Church, which does have a lot of influence in the world, and just it's its own. Uh, it's not a military power like it used to be, but it's now a religious power, and that's what Revelation has is talking about, that the Roman Empire will be once again in power, but not through military power, but religious power. It will have so much influence that there will be millions of followers that it will have, and it does have, and when the false prophet comes out, or comes into power and stuff like that, he'll deceive a lot of people, a lot of people that are members in the Catholic Church. He'll get them to believe that he is God, and he'll performing miracles and signs and wonders, healings and whatever. And but like I said, a lot of the prophecies that Paul predicted, that they have happened, so they're, you know and the number of the beast is not a number, or could be a number of some of the false prophet's name, or or his title, or whatever. It could be, you know. But what Paul meant, the number for to, of the beast, he meant it to be for one of the Roman emperors back in his day. So, if you, like I said, if you take the number of the beast and calculate it in gematria in the Greek, you'll come out with the 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 beast, the name of the beast. You'll come out with that, and then that's how you know the name of the beast. The number 666. Will spell out the 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 name of the beast. So, but then there's still prophecies that haven't been fulfilled yet. But I'd say most of them have, and you might not agree with me. Most of them have been fulfilled, and and only just a little bit is of the prophecy in Revelation is for now. You know, I would say most of it has been was fulfilled back in and even scholars agree, Bible scholars, that the Bible, I mean, that studied the Bible scholars, even they agree that most of these prophecies have been fulfilled, and it's over, and that's it. Okay, so um, until and I just can't believe it, but it might be true, we might, you know we might be just, uh, there's gonna be some more prophecies. I mean, there's not very much left to be fulfilled, I would say, or in my opinion, there's just a little bit left to be fulfilled, and that's it, because most of it has been fulfilled. What Paul predicted was going to happen, and it was not for, the 21st. Some of it is still has not been fulfilled, and stuff, but most of it has, I think. That's what I hope you understand. But and you might not agree, but I mean, this video, the two videos that I saw last night, really, really, I mean, if you saw these videos, you'd be like, whoa, my God, I was so wrong about, you know, I mean, I was just so wrong. It was, you know, and a lot of people out there are might be, wrong too, just like I was. I was just so wrong. I learned a lot by watching the videos. I learned a lot, and if you were to watch these videos, you would learn a lot too. And it would just it would you would just like, wham, it would be so clear, because it explains to you what Revelation is actually talking about, and that after you watch these videos, you will understand what Revelation means, and then you will understand that most of the prophecies have, you know, come to pass. They've already, been fulfilled. Years, thousands of years back, they were fulfilled, and there's just a little bit left to be fulfilled. And that's it. Not much, just a little bit, I would say. And that's the part where the false prophet is going to come into power and whatever, and so many of his followers will bow down and worship him and take his mark on their right hand and forehead. and that's the part that hasn't been fulfilled. Okay, YouTubers, I guess it's time to go, and or until next time, I hope you learned something. Uh, if you like my videos, you know, uh, rate and subscribe, and uh, well, I'll talk to you later and stuff. I mean, like I said, I mean, you might not agree, but I say if you know, you be way, you would understand, you really would understand after you watch these two videos that I watched. I wish I could put them on here for you, and then you could watch them, and then you would understand, you would learn and understand what Revelation was actually talking about, and you would know that most of the prophecies have been fulfilled, and that's it, you know, and stuff. It was not meant for, most of it was meant for, like I said, for Paul's time, for back in Paul's day. Some of it still not been fulfilled, and but okay, YouTubers, I'll talk to y'all later, and y'all have a good day. All right, bye bye.